Hello to all my friends out there. So happy Sunday morning, and so I want to make some bread and some Aunt Nancy's lima beans, and what I want to do is do a little old-fashioned cooking. So I'm making a half a loaf. I have 1/2 cup warm water. I just microwaved it 30 seconds and then I waited for it to activate, and I have about 2 teaspoons sugar. You want to get enough sugar because that's what activates the bread. And I need a little salt. This is a really cheap recipe. One of the best ways to make sure you don't run out of bread is to make bread. Okay, so I bought this at Walmart. I also bought 2 of these at the 99-cent only store for $1. And so now this is really easy. I just want to add flour little by little. And I bought this flour at 99-cent only. I bought it's 2 pounds for $1, so 50 cents a pound. I like it. I bought 10 pounds. I like these packages because, you know, there's less chance of contamination. You don't want your food contaminated. And the other important thing when you're making bread is wash your hands really good and clean under your fingernails really good. So I'm going to be doing some old-fashioned cooking with the stockpile. You know, to spend very little money on food and to use a stockpile up. And there's another reason for making this bread. Now this recipe doesn't make a big loaf anyway, but the other good reason for making this bread is for eating the hummus on. It's going to be so much more delicious on homemade bread. You know, if you have delicious hummus. Okay, so it's starting to, you know, form into a little ball here. So now I just want to sprinkle a little flour. If you're new to stockpiling, maybe start out with 10 pounds of flour and 10 pounds of sugar, just to start out. Yeast, maybe start out on bread, you know, making bread. That's going to save money. And for another thing, you know what's in your bread. So you might be thinking, you know, that's such a small loaf of bread, that's not even worth making. Well, yeah, but it doesn't take long to make it. And it's easy to make another loaf tomorrow. Very easy. Supposed to need 3 to 5 minutes, but what I do is I just knead it until the bread isn't sticky. Once the bread isn't sticky, you know, then you know it's ready. If it sticks, you know, when you do this, if it sticks to your hand, then you know you need a little bit more flour and a little bit more kneading. For a stiffer dough, you're going to add more flour. So this little half loaf of bread really didn't take much flour either. 1/2 cup water, 2 teaspoons sugar, a pinch of salt, and then add the flour little by little by little. And then after I bake this bread, another thing that's really going to be rather tasty on my bread is honey. I keep that in the stockpile. Okay, I just want a little loaf. I'm going to make a little loaf. Okay, I'll just let that double in size. Oh, I better turn it this way. And that's going to be a nice little loaf of bread. Okay, now for Aunt Nancy's lima beans. Okay, in the day, of course, they used dry lima beans, but I'm using 1 can. You still have to cook these quite a while. 1 can lima beans. Now, these should be kept in the stockpile. This was my husband's aunt, straight from Kansas. Aunt Nancy was from Kansas too, right? Yeah, they all were. They came out here to work at General Dynamics. That was a good job back in the day. Okay, where is that? Well, this is a half a package of Dollar Tree bacon. In the day, they use dry beans and they use ham, but I want to make mine cheap. And so to start, I'm just adding one can water. I can add more. As I'm cooking it, I will add more. And I want to season my beans with salt, pepper, and sugar. For a small batch, maybe about a half teaspoon. So 1 can beans, 1 can water, half a package of bacon, salt, pepper, and sugar. That's the old-fashioned way. And here's the bread. Let me give you a shot of the recipe in case you haven't been following me, and welcome to all the new followers. When I first started making this bread, I thought, how can it work? But it works. Okay, you guys, I'll be back with some Aunt Nancy's lima beans and bread. God bless you all.